Get all that
Because
ready.
Kevin, you're afraid of things, right?
Yeah.
All right, I have started the recording.
You've started the recording. Can we have an intro?
It's your
An
video,
introduction?
so
No, I did the introduction last time. Kevin, it's your turn.
I don't even do intros for my own videos. You think I want to do an intro for yours?
Well, it's a podcast.
it's your podcast. It's going on your channel.
It's kind of my podcast. It's our podcast. I wouldn't record it without you guys.
You are the Markiplier of the podcast. It's your podcast. We're just
I am not the Markiplier of the podcast because I am not popular or funny.
Funny looking.
Oh, that hurts my feelings.
Good. To make an
I
intro.
don't want to do it anymore. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this exciting episode of the podcast that still doesn't really have a name.
You say you're not the Markiplier, and then you do his intro. Hello and welcome to. You even did like the descending tone pitch of it.
I did not. I could do an imitation of him, but I'm not going to. Let's say
That's fired.
Just
all the time.
Shut up,
I'm like a machine gun. I'm always going.
Caleb's in the back, firing box shots.
Yeah, he literally just imitated Markiplier's intro and his voice in the background.
Oh. All right.
Good thing nobody can hear that.
So what are we talking about today, boss?
Well, I was thinking because it's like, you know, the spoopy month, the month of spoops. Spooptober, as I believe it's called by many. We could talk about spoopy things. Things that are scary. Things that we find scary. Scary stories, possibly. Maybe some shout-outs to some scary series or things that we have followed that are good mood setters for this season. Etc. Etc. Etc.
Well, I love all things spooky, so that's not too difficult.
Judging by the current Let's Play on my channel, yes. Silent Hill is one of my favorite game series of all time. Not that I would consider it particularly scary. I actually kind of like the whole psychological aspect a little bit more. Psychological horror is kind of my jam.
But what's your jelly and toast then?
My jelly on toast? I don't really like jelly.
Your jam. What's your jelly and toast?
I don't really like jelly, but I do like sourdough. So, you know, there's that, I guess.
Weird.
Like
so if you want something that I've been listening to that's horror, there's the Magnus Archives, which is a running horror
have
podcast.
Been listening to that for the last month, dude. I have been telling Caleb about it on the daily.
It's good.
It is a great series. It is fantastic.
I am only 38 episodes in, though.
I am on episode 136. So the difference is I listen to 8 hours of podcasts a day, so...
I listen to a podcast a week at most.
Dude, that series is fantastic. It's really well done. I actually randomly found them through a bunch of other horror podcasts because I have been rotating through horror podcasts for the past year. Rusty Quill, that's the production company that does the podcast. They have a whole bunch of them.
Oh, really?
I've only listened to 2 so far. This one and The Mailman of St. Gath's, which is more of a comedy horror. It's very silly. Magnus Archives is much better. There's a bunch of really good ones. If you're interested, I'll show you some really great. There's some shorter ones that are like a fully contained story that you should give a listen to. They're really good. But Kevin, what are you afraid of?
Am I afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
Jeez.
What's scary? What do you find spoopy?
Spoopy.
And don't say commitment. That's cheating.
You know those porcelain dolls?
Yes.
Oh.
So there was one time we were all getting ready for a what's that card game called? Kaijudo? Kaijudo.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready for Kaijudo, and we were all over at our friend's place, Langus. And we're we're getting ready for it's like 2:00 in the morning. It's like, all right, everyone's passing out. And so there's like the main room, because we were upstairs, like borderline attic. And there's another room, and that room, the door was closed the entire day. So he eventually opens it up for some people to sleep in there. And we look inside, and it is wall to wall Entire fucking wall, every wall, shelf, porcelain doll, shoulder to shoulder, sitting down, looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
I just look at Lingus and I go, "What the fuck is this?" Oh, this is the doll room. I keep it closed at all times for the most part. I'm like, for any particular reason? He goes, I'm pretty sure I've heard noises in this room before. And it's like, yeah, and you want us to sleep here? Needless to say, I slept in the door frame, so half my body was in the doll room, the other half was in the not haunted room.
So, oddly enough, my aunt, who is a hoarder, also has a doll room. And I've never actually seen it. I've only heard tale of it. But
It's fucking creepy.
Your
you know what
sister
the
also has
what's the
dolls.
weirdest thing? She does. She has troll dolls mostly though. She does have one. Yes, she had the Victorian doll in the basement, which I think was it you or CJ where we when he was sleeping. Oh, it was him. When he was sleeping over, we put the doll in front of his face, so when he woke up, he saw it.
Okay, so I know she has more than just that one, because I still remember one time when I was having to walk past her room to go to your room, and I don't remember what time of day it was. All the lights were off. It was pretty dark, and I look in, and I see like 30 fucking dolls on her bed staring out the door at me, and I wanted to scream like a little girl. It was horrifying. I still remember asking her to close her damn door so I could walk past it without being horrified.
Oh my goodness. You know what? Here's a story of something that scared all of my entire, my generation. No idea why this is scary. Okay, my grandparents, they live up north, all right, in the middle of the interior. I think we've talked about this before. We used to sleep at their house in the winter and, at the beginning and the end of camping before we leave. They had a guest room. They also live straight down the road from a cemetery, so that's one thing. Also, they live really close to the railroad tracks, and their walls are really thin. So the railroad, you could hear the trains all night. They had a brick fireplace, and beside the brick fireplace, they had a life-size porcelain doll dressed as a settler, and then a bunch of stone coyotes. All right, and because it's a small town, there's no sounds of cars. So it's already eerily silent until a train barrels through and sounds like it's going through the wall. In the guest room, they had this humongous picture of a mountain goat on the side of a mountain. And I'm not sure why, but me, my brother, and my sister could not sleep with that picture in the room. They had to take it out because we were so afraid of it. Don't know what it was. I have vague memories of having a nightmare where the rocks in the mountain came out of it and crushed me in my sleep or something. No idea why my siblings were afraid of it, but they had to get rid of the painting because none of us would sleep in there while it was there.
So, I have a similar thing that happened to me when I was a lot younger, except for this was in my own fucking room. When I was younger, I had these Spider-Man giant stickers that you would stick on your walls. Just, being, 6, 8-year-old kid. Fuck, I don't remember how old I was. Really young. Part of it was I had the city skyline that wrapped around the building, and then there was this colossal 3-foot, 4-foot large Spider-Man sticker. I was horrified of that sticker. Love Spider-Man. Horrified of that sticker. I still vividly remember I had to be dreaming, but I would wake up in the middle of the night, look at this picture, and see it reach into the city, pick up criminals, and flick them deep into my room. To this day, I still have that nightmare.
If I ever wake up to that goat picture in a house, I'm just out. I'm gone.
If that fucking Spider-Man ever appeared in my house, I would scream like a little girl and sprint naked through the streets. I'd be done.
So I have no proof that this ever happened. I think that they're lying to me. I still have this, by the way, so maybe one day I'll bring it into a video. But I used to like dinosaurs a lot when I was a kid. And my parents bought me for Christmas a Triceratops, a big one and a little one. So I thought it was the mom and the baby one. And it had these really poorly painted big eyes. And apparently, again, I have no memory of this, would not sleep while the dinosaur was in my room because, shut up, Caleb, quote unquote, I would yell at my dad, "Dad, it's staring at me. The Triceratops won't stop staring at me." So he had to come take it away until I fell asleep, and then he could put it back in the morning.
Yeah, that's awful.
I don't remember that happening, but apparently it did. And yes, Caleb was mocking me from the other room saying, "Daddy, it's staring at me," and it's not funny.
Yeah. It reminds me of your Furby that jumped on me, as well as we've told the story of what it does when we stuffed it in the freezer with no batteries.
Yeah, I didn't appreciate the fact that the Furby could still say me no like.
I didn't appreciate sleeping under your desk and the Furby slamming down on my face in the middle of the night.
Well, you probably weren't meant to survive, to be fair.
Probably not, but I did. Wasn't happy.
And this is why the seated Chucky makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kevin, you got any other childhood stories of fear?
Of fear.
Scary things.
I mean, I scare easy, so I generally speaking stayed away from those types of things. But I do remember an Ocarina of Time going under the well,
Yeah.
and there was a mini boss at the end of the well. And this boss is absolutely fucking horrifying. At least it horrified me as a child. You like walk in, the standard Zelda stuff door closes behind you, locks, so you can't get out. And in this like big empty room, there's a circle of like really long arms sticking out with like claw with like hands at the end with like claws. And they're like the color is like it's like gray, purple, and just like splotches of blood. So it's not a very nice looking arm and hand. No. So okay, don't know about that. So you walk up to it to try and attack it. The second you try to attack it, it lunges, grabs your face, and then this horrifying just like mound. Think like No Face from Spirited Away.
Okay.
Think that, but like demonic and with like this jaw that can unhinge itself. It pretty much like swallow you whole, and it would just bite you and like eat you. That boss terrified me. Like when I first played, I was like, "It's gonna grab me. It's gonna come from under the bed, grab me, eat me. It's over for me." I was done for like 2 weeks after that. I was like, "I'm gonna put the game down. I'm not playing this. This scares me."
Dude, it's super weird what stuff scares you when you're a kid. So, like, I was terrified of vampires because of freaking Archie's Weird Mysteries. When I was like, I don't know, 11, 12. They had a movie about vampires, and in that movie, the vampires could turn into mist and come through, like, screen doors. And I was like, but you always have my windows open. They could come in through the window.
At any time, it's over for me.
Yeah, pretty much. Man, it's so weird. Like, and I was, like many children, I was also afraid of the dark. But that's, I think, a pretty normal thing.
Pretty sure that's a human thing. That was, like, part of your, like, instincts as to why we survived as a species.
Yeah. I was literally having this conversation with my brother yesterday. I was like, everyone's a little bit afraid of the dark. And he's like, I've never been afraid of the dark. I'm like, well, it must be nice.
Put them in an unfamiliar place in the dark. There will be some semblance of fear because they can't see and they don't know where the hell they are.
Yeah,
maybe not to the same extent as you or I, but like there'll still be some fear.
Yeah, I really don't like the dark sometimes. Other times it's quite peaceful actually, but there are times when like, yeah, especially if you're in an unknown place, like you go out to the woods, and there are still times. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you go camping a lot. I think you go camping every now and again, right?
It's not quite like camping. Was it glamping when you go inside of a cabin? Is that what it's called?
No idea. It's not called camping by my family, but that's okay. I'd rather do.
No, it's definitely not camping. We don't. I haven't done like actual like tent camping.
Well,
for a very long time.
we have gone camping up north many times, same area, where where my grandparents live, and there's definitely been times where you would be camping and you'd wake up in the middle of the night and you have to use the outhouse. And at the campsite that we used to go to, we would usually camp over closer to the lake, and then there was like a ring gravel road where the vehicles could drive around to get to the campsites. There was a little forested area in the center of that, and then on the other side of the donut road, there was an outhouse, but the outhouse was about 20 feet into the woods. And of course, there's no lights.
Oh,
It's a wooded camp. So
yeah.
to get to the outhouse, you would have to go about 20 feet into the darkened woods to use the restroom. There was a few times where we would just pee in the bushes really close to the tent.
I don't blame you. If I was in that situation as a child, I would have definitely done
Even
the
as
same
like
thing.
even this was probably about 10 years ago now, but one of my friends, he was going to the outhouse when it was dark out, and my uncle, who is a large man, was wearing black, and he was coming through the woods from the other outhouse because there
Oh,
were two,
no.
and he crashed through the woods, and the guy pulled up his pants before he was done and ran back into camp. There's a bear in the woods. My uncle walks in. It's just me. And we have called my uncle the bear for years. Years.
As long as you call him the bear and not a bear.
Yeah, not that kind of bear.
Yeah, I
But
don't really have too many camping stories like that because for the most part, it would be yeah, tenting was very rare. There'd usually be at least like a cabin or something we would be in.
yeah, I've definitely had some interesting like experiences. What's funny is the only time I've not been afraid was when I was doing security at a supposedly haunted site once, and that was actually one of the most peaceful jobs I've ever had. Except for when the bear got angry. That was a real bear whose cub had been hit by a car, and that was scary, but in a different way.
You were there for it? Like,
I,
were
w-
you in
I
the
was
vehicle or?
no, I didn't see it get hit by the vehicle, but basically, there was a family of 3 bears that were at the site, and they used to walk around all the time, and they didn't really care about people at all. If you got too close, they would kind of like you know they wouldn't never attack anyone, but they didn't want you to get too close. The male bear, he didn't give a rat's ass about people. He literally sat on the basketball court, and I almost walked into him because I couldn't see him in the dark. But one night, the mother and the cub got hit by a car, and that night she was pissed. So I was like walking outside, and I just hear snapping and crashing in the woods, and I'm like, nope. I was inside the building in the next second, and I did not come out for like 3 hours.
I don't play. Yeah.
I was like, I'm
I was
supposed to
like,
be doing a patrol right now, but nah.
my life is more important.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel like
If
getting mauled.
if anything, the bear is now doing your job for you.
You pretty much. My favorite thing was one of the other people there was like, "Hey, can you walk me to my car? I'm afraid of the bear." I was like, "What do you think I'm gonna do?"
I'm also afraid. Can you walk me?
Yeah. Oh, it's just because I'm larger than you and I'm slow. That's all it is, eh? I see how it goes. Oh
Free
man.
meal.
Let's see. What are some things that are scary? So, I mean, we've all talked about dolls already. Like, I mean, I know that a lot of people find dolls and mannequins creepy, and I always wonder why that is. And I wonder if that's because they're so similar to humans,
It's
but
the
like,
uncanny valley.
yeah, it's the unnatural thing.
It's like it looks human, but it's not human. And
Yeah,
because there's like that similarity, your brain just it goes in this super weird, awkward space where it's like, I know it's nothing can happen, but it still looks like it should be able to move because it looks human.
yeah, and I think that's another reason why we find like animatronics and things like that so like unsettling. It's because they move, but they don't move naturally. It doesn't move like a living thing, but it's moving and acting like something that's supposedly alive, and our brains are like, "What is this?"
The uncanny valley, it's called.
Yep. Kevin already brought that in. It's kind of the same idea, like when something like in Silent Hill, a lot of the monsters twitch and move awkwardly. I think it's the same idea. It's like unnatural movements.
Probably.
Yeah, makes you very unsettled. I love a good scare, but the thing is, I don't actually like. I'm not a fan of slashers usually, unless it's done in a humorous way. Like I liked Scream. Scream was clever. Scream was quite a good movie.
The
But
first one.
I've always preferred my horror movies and horror games to either have a good conclusion or a somewhat happy ending of a type, if that makes any sense. Like
You
I
don't want
enjoy,
everyone to die at the end.
yeah, I like The Conjuring, where at the end they banish the demon and everyone lives happily ever after. But that movie was actually unsettling and quite scary. In fact, I also watched that in a tiny theater up north, and then we had to drive half an hour through unlit logging roads to get back to the tent we were sleeping in. It was not a good night for me.
I still
Poor choice of
remember.
movie.
Yeah,
I
not
still
great.
remember the last time we were up there. We didn't even watch a horror movie, but we were heading back from the theater after watching Suicide Squad. And I still could swear I saw someone walking on the hiking roads.
I mean,
Y'all
it's
told me,
possible.
oh, no, it was just a sign. It was just a sign. I didn't see no fucking sign. I saw somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Sometimes when you're camping, it's scary. I mean, there was that one time we were there, and there was a family at the other campsite that got into a domestic dispute in the middle of the night, and one of the dudes punched through a car window. So that was
Fun.
scary in a different way. But you know, oh man, yeah, I like a good horror movie, but I actually prefer supernatural horror movies. I'm not a big fan of the and when I say a supernatural horror movie, I mean like the more unexplainable ones. I don't really like the whole like super monster movies. Like I'm not a big fan of the Jason Voorhees, the Mike
Well,
Myers, what's that
those
other
aren't
guy?
horror movies. Those are slasher films.
They're still a genre of horror. I don't like those. I'm not a big fan of the relentless monster that seems human but is like unstoppable. That's not really fun. I like the ones that have the more subtle scares, like the first Paranormal Activity before they completely sold out and made 1,000 of them,
That's fair.
or Blair Witch Project, where it was like subtle creepiness. It's kind
I
of the
too,
reason. Sorry, go ahead.
I very much agree. I like more subtle creepy. Jump scares are okay, but they're
In
I want
moderation.
in moderation. Yeah, I want a fear that creeps into my very bones. That after I've put the movie away, I'm still sitting there horrified.
Yeah, you don't want to. That's the one night when you're like, I don't want to turn off the lamp because the movie's left you feeling like, I know it's not real, but it could be. Those are the good horror movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will never forgive what they did with the Silent Hill movies, by the way. In the
those
second
are
one,
movies.
well, the first one was actually okay. The second one is absolute trash. And in the middle of the second one, they jump scare you with a fucking Pop-Tart. I will never forgive them for that.
Great. So speaking.
So what would you say is your? Oh, okay, continue.
I was just gonna say, speaking of absolutely horrific movies, I have one that I don't remember if it was a horror movie or not. But when I was 6 or 7, this happened very young. I was at my biological father's place for our every couple of weeks visit.
Mm-hmm.
And he put me and my brother to bed with a movie on. Now, we had watched all his kid-friendly movies. And he's like, okay, I got a bunch of movies. I don't know. This movie is older, so the rating probably isn't right. I'll let you watch it. It was an R-rated movie from the 60s.
Wait. Which movie? It?
No, it was... I have no idea what the movie was called at this point. But he said we could watch this movie, and it was an R-rated movie from the 60s, and I could not sleep for a month.
Well, what was the movie about? I'm curious now.
At this point, the only thing I can remember is someone being tortured and then thrown into a pit with snakes.
That narrows it down so little. It sounds like Indiana Jones, in fact.
Well, this was R-rated, so we watched them get tortured and then thrown in a pit of snakes to die.
Oh, great. I mean, I was terrified of Ernest Scared Stupid when I was a kid too, so you know what? I'm not one to judge.
We want to talk about silly scares when young. Fantasia, the movie.
Oh yeah. No, that spooked me a little bit. I mean, I was a little bit scared by the freaking Dark Crystal when I was a kid. So
same.
Kevin, sorry, you had a thought. Think your thought at me.
So I was just saying, you've clearly watched like some amounts of horror films. What would be like your top 5?
Well, have I watched 5 is the question. Let's see. So The Conjuring is definitely up there for me. I have always liked that movie. I thought it was really good. Oh, that's up there. I've actually watched all of the Conjuring movies, to be fair. I liked all of them, but I'll only count one of them. Paranormal Activity 1 was one I watched. I really enjoyed that. It was one of the first horror movies I ever watched, actually.
Mhm.
Let's see, what else have I watched? I can't count Cabin in the Woods because it's more of a comedy than a horror. I did not like Hellraiser. That was very uncomfortable and not good. Oh, what's another horror movie I've watched? I have watched so many, but I'm trying to think of ones that were actually like, oh, Scream. Scream doesn't count. I don't think
The
it really
first
counts. It's not
one-
really scary.
I think the first one was intended to be a horror movie.
It was a parody of horror movies. It was meant to like, kind of like,
It was poking fun at it, but it was still
it was
supposed to be scary.
meta. I don't know if I would call that one a horror movie. We can put that one on the maybe pile. It's still a good movie. Let's see. Watch
there's
the Thing. The Thing is really good. The one
Thing
with
is
the
very good.
practical effects, not the CGI one.
Yes, The Thing, not the remake.
Yeah, not the remake of The Thing. It. I liked It, the remake, and I liked the original, but I'm gonna go with the remake.
It Part 1. It Part 2 was very much disappointing.
Yeah, It Part 1 was better than It Part 2. I didn't hate It Part 2, but It Part 1 is definitely better. Trying to think. I know there was another one I watched that I really enjoyed.
There's a horror
The Ring's pretty good.
series.
The
There's
Ring's
a
pretty
horror
good.
series that I've watched that I really enjoyed, but I can't remember what it is for the life. It's called For the Life of Me. It's the one with the the key demon and fuck me, I can't remember what it's called now.
With the what?
The key demon.
The key demon.
Yeah, each of the horror movies had like a different primary ghost as the villain. The dad and the kid could put their souls basically into the space between worlds.
I have literally no clue.
Insidious?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, Insidious. That was a series of movies that did involve another universe. Yeah.
Yes, okay. It is the Insidious series. I enjoyed the Insidious series.
I
Was that
think
the
I've
same
only-
one where they said you just have to say back, I don't want you here, and then the ghosts have to leave you? Is that the same series?
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember anymore.
I believe so. It was pretty corny at the end of
Oh,
the first one.
a really good horror movie, Room 1408 by Stephen King. That's a good.
That's a
horror movie.
great one.
I really enjoyed that one. Pet Cemetery is campy, but also kind of fun to watch the remake. I enjoyed that because it has what's his name? The guy from Third Rock from the Sun. He was also in the Twilight Zone movie. It's gonna drive me crazy. What is his name? He's so silly, but he's actually a really good actor at times.
Well, you think of those. There's two kid horror movies. They're kind of scary for kids that I enjoyed a lot as a kid. Haunted Mansion and The Little Vampire.
I have watched both. Don't remember anything.
I loved The Little Vampire. I owned it on DVD and watched that thing about 4,000 times.
John Lithgow. John Lithgow. That's his name. John Lithgow. He acts in it. He plays the old man across the street. I don't know if you've ever seen Pet Sematary. It's a really weird movie. Makes no sense. Like a lot of Stephen King novels, it makes no sense. But it's enjoyable.
It's enjoyable. The book, I would not recommend reading the book for Pet Sematary.
I have never read a single. I have not read a single Stephen King novel. I've only watched the movies. And really, the only reason I liked 1408 was because it was like, I watched it because it was Silent Hill: The Room, but as a movie, and then I enjoyed it for the movie itself afterwards.
That's fair.
How about you, Kevin? What's a good horror movie that you've watched?
Good horror film. I haven't really watched that many. Okay, let's see here. What have I watched? I watched The Conjuring. I watched The Woman in Black, the first one. I liked that one actually. That one was pretty good. It wasn't your jump scare gore fest or some unrelenting monster hunting our heroes.
Yeah.
It's pretty good overall. It was very, I wouldn't say it was like super atmospheric, but it definitely had moments where you go, "Oh, I'm a little like perturbed.
The Woman
I don't
in Black,
like
that's the one
this."
with Harry Potter, right?
Daniel Radcliffe, yes.
Yeah.
Look, he's Harry Potter. He'll never be anything but Harry Potter.
Fair enough. Now watch the first one. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first one has a bit of a fuck you kind of ending, but overall, decent movie. Not really a horror film, but there's also Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Amazing movie.
Very
10
good
out of
movie.
10.
Pardon, Will?
So good. My aunt showed me that movie. She liked to show me things she didn't think my parents would approve of.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
And then, have I watched any other horror films?
I love just before we move
that's
off
it.
from that movie. I love the part when they're like, "What are these kids doing? I don't know. He threw himself into the wood chipper."
The cop's going to be, what are we going to tell him? Well, officer, I've had a doozy of a day. No, that's stupid. Officer rolls up. Well, officer, I've had a doozy of a day. Fantastic film. Fantastic.
There's Scooby-Doo Zombie Island.
Oh, that was actually... I did find that scary as a kid, but it is such a good movie.
As a kid, I found it scary, but it was the right level of scary. I was scared, but I loved it. And the music still fucking bops to this day.
Yeah, dude. It's terror time again, man. Best.
I have that on my phone for when I work out.
Yeah, my brother's singing it from the other room. Stop listening in!
So, on a completely different track, there's something I find scary.
Yeah, what's that?
When Kevin goes, "Hey, don't worry about it, just start recording," and then nothing has happened.
That's a fair point. These guys always get me by saying something like, "Oh man, what's that?" And then when I ask them, they say, "Don't worry about it." The scariest sentence in the human language, "Don't worry about it." My grandfather uses that one. "Hey, is there bears around here? Don't worry about it." We leave from the berry bush. He says, "Yeah, there was a bear about 5 feet away on the other side of the berry bush." Then what do you mean, don't worry about it?
You guys have been lucky so far. Don't worry about it.
I'm not enjoying this.
Fuck you.
Also, Will, I remember that I got you with this, but only because someone else got me. Those stupid videos where you look at the road. You remember when I got you with that at my parents' old house?
I remember sprinting down your fucking hallway backwards.
So, Kevin, you remember those videos where it's like a car driving down the highway in silence? That's like, I need you to look real closely at this. It was actually textbook perfect. So he leans right in.
He goes, "Yeah, there's a ghost in the background if you look really close." I'm basically pressing my face against the screen because at this point in my time, we didn't have computers or internet. So I was completely internet illiterate. And then the ghost does the jump scare. Probably my first legitimate jump scare of my life. Pops up in my face. I scream, flip backwards down the hallway, and just sprint into their living room.
Oh, it was one of my best memories. Almost as good as the time my brother was running to the bathroom and we had a hallway that's L-shaped. And I jumped out from around the corner and scared him, and he fell on his back, but he didn't have time to hit me because he had to pee so bad. He's gotten me back ever since because I'm really easily jump scared. Yeah, you've had revenge many times. I also sometimes wake up. Like, if you wake me up, I will sometimes, like, startle awake.
Yeah, you do that a lot.
Yeah, so if you'll walk in, it's like, "Nathaniel," I will jump, like, go from horizontal to vertical in 1 second, like, "What's going on?" It's like, I just want to know if you wanted breakfast. Yes, I would like breakfast.
I think the true fear is when you either you rock back on your chair a little bit too far, and you hit that point that it's like maybe just a couple centimeters further than you normally would go, but you're like, "I'm dead. This is how I go out." You just feel your weight starting to shift back. That is genuine fear, as well as.
My chair, have you?
No, I have not.
Will, have you sat in my chair?
Many times. It's horrific.
My chair goes beyond that point, but it doesn't unbalance. So it goes to the "I don't feel safe," and then the "oh no, I'm going to die," and then it goes further, and then it stops, and it doesn't fall. It's
fantastic.
terrifying.
You can damn near go vertical, and it's horrific because there's no way to click it in so it doesn't go back. You're just sitting there doing something. You lean back a little bit, and all of a sudden you're going, "Ah!"
Yeah. No, it's great because I'm used to it now, but the first time someone sits in my chair, you can hear the real fear in their voice when they lean back.
Okay, so you want to talk about real fear. When I first moved into my apartment alone, I was I was sketched out.
No.
First time living alone, you know. And this is the first time I was living downtown, like deep in the city. I've always been kind of off the beaten path, dealt with some traffic, but not too much. I still remember one time I'm lying in bed, just completely cold asleep. Something wakes me up with a jump. I'm awake in my bed, like I have no idea what's going on, and then I hear bam, bam, bam. I swear I jumped out and flipped off my bed to put it between me and the wall. I thought I was being shot at. It was a car backfiring multiple times. The sheer ungodly fear of waking up to what I thought was gunshots is something I'll never forget.
And then just feeling your heart in your throat. And you're just like, that's just the worst feeling ever.
Yeah. And I feel bad for my downstairs neighbors because I slammed into the ground.
There was definitely a time when I was younger and my mom came in to give me a kiss while I was sleeping, and I woke up with her face like inches from mine, and I like screamed.
Oh, that's got to be a bit startling for sure.
You just see a face inches from yours when you wake up. It's not peaceful.
What about the fear of waking up just moments before a nocturnal leg cramp kicks in?
Oh no! Please don't remind me. It's been a little while since that's happened.
You wake up and you just look, and there's that feeling. You just feel it starting to slowly tense up. You know damn well this slightest wrong movement is going to kick that thing into overdrive, and now you're going to spend the next 5 to 10 minutes begging and pleading with your leg to stop. You're bargaining with it to make the the pain go away.
What happens?
Yep.
Oh, you know that there's no way to avoid it too. You know it's gonna happen. You know it. You're like, maybe if I don't move, it won't happen. And then your leg is just like, I'm tired of waiting. And then you look at it, and there's literally an angry like animal under your skin, crawling in one spot, and it is so painful. If you guys haven't experienced a nocturnal like Charlie horse, it feels like it's lasting for like 20 minutes, and it is intense pain, and you cannot move your leg.
My brain is dumb. Every time that happens, my brain goes, snap your leg straight, you won't have it happen. So I immediately snap my leg straight and snap it back up as go.
The worst thing is when the cramp finishes, and then you're like, okay, it's fine. And then you go to move your leg, and it's like, you thought I was done. And then it goes a second time.
The double tap is worse because at that point, that part of your leg is already super, super tender because it just felt like it kind of feels like you ran 10 kilometers in half a second.
Yep.
Like your leg is just so sore, and then it goes like a second time, and you're borderline in tears at this point, just clutching your legs, going, Lord, I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I apologize.
I'm literally like rolling in agony, and I used to sleep in a really old metal bunk bed that sounded like you were going down like a metal like fire escape dragging chains. So when I would get a leg cramp, it would sound like someone had dropped a bunch of glass cookware down a metal staircase. And you just hear me going, the pain! And just all this noise the entire time. It's like, Nathaniel, what are you doing in there? It hurts so much.
Worst, I don't know about you, but for me, it goes, It's just like this, like you're trying to stifle your own screams, but it's so fun. Oh my god!
I'm literally begging with my leg. I'm like, please, no, stop! Just let me free. I'm like, it's actually awful. But when it happens to me, my like foot points straight down. So like my foot is like pointing, and if I like shove my foot against the wall and push my foot flat, I can make the muscle straighten out. But it does not feel good. It'll end the cramp early, but it does not feel good. You can feel the muscle, like, pulling over itself. It's awful.
Angry muscle noises.
It stops the cramp.
Probably the most fear I've ever had in my entire life is the first time having it, not knowing what the hell it was, and then the second time knowing it's about to happen again.
Talking to my doctor, I was like, I've been in this horrible pain in my leg. I have no idea what's causing. And he's like, that's just a leg cramp. Drink more water. And he literally just passes it off. I feel for the amount of pain I felt, it deserves to be something more serious.
Oh. So, speaking of nighttime terrors,
No.
What is the worst or most recent nightmare you've had that was just mind-boggling to you?
So here's the thing, my dreams are so strange and then I rarely remember them. Half the time when I do have a nightmare, I just wake up scared and I don't actually remember what the nightmare was. One of the only ones I really remember, there's been a lot of ones with zombies. There's definitely a lot of ones with zombies. There's a lot of ones with deep water. And for some reason, every bridge I cross in my dreams always has alligators under it. I don't know why, always. There's always alligators every time. Uh, and lots of ones where I've been lost. I also had my hand cut off in one. That wasn't great. I had another one where there was a demon inside of the electricity in my house. That wasn't fun. He wanted to get me.
Oof.
That wasn't fun. There's been a lot of ones where I'm not wearing pants. Those aren't really nightmares, but they still suck. Because I'll usually start the dream wearing pants, and then they'll be gone. And I'll be in a public place and no one's noticed yet. And I'll think to myself, how do I get out of this? And then I usually just decide, screw it, I have to run. It's just happens too often, man. Also, the one where I can't find a bathroom stall. Those ones are pretty awful.
Those ones are awful. Kevin, do you have
dreaming?
one?
Yeah, dreaming you're going to the washroom is the biggest trap. Don't do it. Do not fucking do it.
See, the thing is, Kevin, I have dreams that I'm going to the washroom all the time, but they're worse than the trap because in my dreams, I just continue to relieve myself, but I feel no actual relief. And I had one where it just kept on filling and it was overflowing, and I was like, how do I clean this up? The bathroom is getting covered in urine. I just don't know what to do. I still feel like I have to go, but nothing's changing. And then I woke up and was like, oh, good thing I felt no relief.
If I felt relief, man, that'd be really embarrassing.
Well, I mean, I do the laundry now, so I could probably hide it.
Fair enough. Dreams, though. I don't really remember, like, my dreams. For the most part, just I'm asleep. So I wake up.
I dream
there was
constantly.
The last thing I remember as far as a dream goes was like pretty much sinking. Like I fell into the ocean, sinking, tried to swim back up, couldn't, looked down, saw that I was wearing like steel-toed boots, so I just drowned.
That's awful.
Okay then. That's
I was like, I guess I was working on the boat, got knocked over, couldn't swim back up. Guess this is how I go out. And that's about all I remember from any dream. Was for the most part, if I do remember them, it's either drowning or falling. So there's been a couple times it feels like I was dropped into my bed.
I am so jealous of you two, as I remember my dreams in vivid details.
Well, so here's the thing. I remember them when I wake up, but then they get fuzzier and fuzzier. And some of them I remember, like, I can remember bits of dreams from like 20 years ago, but only bits of them. Like, have you guys ever had flying dreams? I've had flying dreams, but not often.
No, my dreams are generally worse. Just awful. So you had one, Kevin?
No,
I had one flying dream. Yeah, one time it was just like we flying around, and then I woke up. That's about all I remember. It was a pleasant dream.
I've had a lot of dreams of water. I like water, but I don't like being over deep water. It's actually very terrifying to me.
See, I have a couple dreams that are very memorable. I have the one dream that happened. This was like, I don't know, 6-8 months ago, where I dreamed I was running away from vampires the whole night, trying to fight with them, trying to deal with them, trying to get away.
My chair just gave out.
Oh, we've hit the point of no return.
Yeah, we hit the point of no return. And now I'm stuck in the corner and I can't get up. No!
Rip the chair.
I guess I'll just starve to death here. Ugh.
Ugh. Is it like dead?
Oh. Yeah, man. Oh. Kinda.
It's a real workout over there.
I don't think you're getting me up, boy. I got it. It's fine. Oh, no. You guys keep talking. I'll figure this out.
This is far too entertaining.
Well, he grunts and figures that out. I was running from vampires, and at the end of the dream, I remember one of them bite me, and is draining the blood from me, and I can feel my fingers go cold. You know how when you've really bled a lot, all your extremities go super cold, everything gets fuzzy and grays out.
Yeah.
So I remember dreaming that, and I go all the way to a full blackout death, and I wake up
Like,
and I can't
the
move
leg
my
literally
arms. I can't
snapped off of my
feel my
chair.
arms. And I had to try, and I was face down trying to flop my way out of bed so that way I could just wait until my arms had blood return to them and I could get sensation back in them and actually move them. It was horrifying.
But you weren't sleeping like on your arm though?
No, I was sleeping face down, like T-pose, really relaxed on my bed, just, sleeping face down. And both my arms, 100% numb, had no sensation of them. Not even the buzzy sensation of like, hey, your foot's falling asleep. Literally nothing.
Dead.
I had to just get up and twist my torso to wiggle my arms until I got pins and needles of blood returning to them.
So a similar story now that I'm standing up. That was actually really unfortunate. So we're talking about how my chair goes back and it won't kill you. One of the legs, the weld was rusted through and it literally broke off. And the chair, I was leaning. Okay, so my desk, I have 2 desks that are parallel to each other, okay? I was turned sideways with my back facing to the wall so that when the chair gave out, I fell down. So I was right in between both desks, legs up in the air, head against the wall. I could not get out. So my brother came in, he's trying to pick me up, but I am leaning all the way backwards, so he can't fulcrum enough to get me up. We had to throw the chair over and I had to crawl out.
All right then.
That was unpleasant.
That reminds me of when my chair snapped. I was leaning back and I feel a clunk and I'm like, oh, that's not feel good. And then all of a sudden, snap, and I flip backwards out of my chair.
That's what just happened, yeah. Nothing.
My brother did the same thing to mine.
My pride hurt a little bit, but I don't have any of that, so it's fine. Similar to your story, Will. I actually, one of the scariest things that ever happened to me was I fell asleep on my hand. I didn't realize you could lose feeling in a limb by sleeping on it. So I woke up, and my left hand had 0 feeling, to the point where I could not move it at all, and I panicked. And it was my right hand, actually.
Come back to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. I forgot that I wasn't using my headset, and I'm not sitting anymore.
Yeah.
So my right hand had no feeling. I couldn't move at all. I panicked, and I tried to get out of the room. I'm right-handed. I couldn't turn the doorknob. I slapped the doorknob with my dead hand 3 times before my panic brain was like, you have a second hand, turn the handle.
Oh, yeah.
It's wonderful what fear can do. Fear can either turn you into an idiot or the strongest person on the planet.
Yeah, and
Often
then I did
both.
make it. I went into my parents' room, woke them up, and they're like, it'll be fine. Just let the blood flow back and it'll move. And it did, and I was fine. But man, did I panic.
See, I also have one other a nightmare that I remember the entirety of, and I wish I didn't, because it was I don't know if you guys get this, but it was a nightmare that when I'd wake up in fear and then go back to sleep, it would restart from the beginning.
Thank you.
Oh, I've never had that before. That is
I have never
wild.
had a dream continue.
No,
I think I have.
Not only did it continue, I could remember what was going to happen. Try and avoid it, and something new bad would happen. So what happened the first time is I wake up, I'm in the basement of my elementary school, because this was when I was first in high school. And the teacher's like, there's new challenges. If you want to be a part of high school, you have to survive this, and snaps my neck right there. I wake up horrified. Holy fuck, what the hell was that? Go back to sleep. The teacher gives me the exact same spiel. I know what's happening. I sprint for the door. I get out the door, someone is there, stabs me in the throat. And I went from stage to stage to stage for the entire night. It was one of the few times my mom let me stay home and just sleep during the day because I was so exhausted from the constant waking up in fear of doing this dream over and over. And every time, back in the seat, being told I have to survive. Okay, remember, neck snap here, throat stab there. That person's going to shoot me. That person's going to stab me. Oh... And I'm fucked up, and I've listened to a lot of things. I have a very vivid sensation of both the vivid idea of the sound of bone snapping as well as the sensation of it. So waking up feeling the tingly post sensation of like having that happen, oh, I will never forget that night. It was hell.
Was it just the one night, or was it a reoccurring thing?
It happened all night that one night where I would sleep, wake up, and happen. Never again did I have that dream, thankfully.
So there's gonna be some freaking psychiatrist gonna listen to this and be like, these people have serious conditions. They should not be out in the public.
They're a danger to themselves and everyone around them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, come on. Just makes me think of the one time that I've had. Thankfully, only one time I've had sleep paralysis.
I'm glad I have a handy brother. He's gonna fix the chair for me, and he's giving me a loaner. Oh, I am gonna hurt in the morning.
You are gonna hurt bad. But yeah, I've only had sleep paralysis once. Kevin, have you had sleep paralysis?
Oh my goodness, so many times.
Thankfully never experienced sleep paralysis, but that's when like you're awake but you can't move
because your body is still in sleep but your brain is awake.
And often you hallucinate vividly. So let's see if I can see. The one time I had it, this was back when I was living at my parents'. I can still remember vividly. I was lying in bed. I woke up and I can't move. I'm staring at the wall with my door behind me is kind of open. I used to leave it open because we had cats, and it was so the cats could come in and cuddle and whatever. And I hear my floor creaking. I'm like, okay, must be my parents, or the cats are strangely creaking the floor, whatever. And then I hear this clicking sound. And it sounds like, I don't know, two porcelain like shards tick, 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 ticking at each other. And somehow I can feel something creeping up next to my bed. And in my sleep, I roll over to face forward. And I'm still not in control. My body just automatically rolled over. And I can see this creature standing next to my bed, over my bed. It is this buff, skeletal creature with teeth going down its neck rather than having a proper jaw, and the ticking is the sound of its teeth clicking against each other as its giant throat neck is over top of me. This thing terrified me so bad, I ended up making a zebra sculpt of it because I had to get it out for the next few days while working.
You still have that. If you give it to me, I'll put it in.
I'll put it in the general chat. And yeah, it was true horror.
Just to describe what is the most horrible about sleep paralysis, I've had it many times. If I ever fall asleep on basically a couch or anything where you're not in a very good sleeping position, I'll get it. Basically, the biggest issue with it is if you start to panic because you're not in control of your body, you can't control your breathing. So you want to hyperventilate, but your body is still on sleep breathing mode. So it feels like you can't breathe, even though you're breathing fine. So you start to feel like you're choking, and it's a horrible thing. It feels awful.
Take your word for it.
Yeah, it's not great. Normally, if I get it, sleep paralysis these days, I just basically try to move my leg or my arms until I wake up. That normally works.
Wonder why the brain does that to people. Just like
it's got to do with your brain transitioning out of REM sleep. It's not transitioning properly. It's more common in people who have sleep disorders. You'll get it more frequently.
I see.
Because your brain isn't transitioning correctly, which is why like certain things affect it.
For me, I was in college at the time, so I wasn't sleeping properly. I was super stressed about passing. I was in like the perfect brain state for this thing to happen to me. And yeah, it was horrendous.
Yeah, I would definitely lose my shit if I woke up but couldn't move, and then I see this thing like over top of me, like in the room, or whatever crazy monstrosity my brain would come up with. Definitely would be probably a scarring
Did,
moment.
did you see? He just posted it.
Oh,
That is
geez.
my nightmare. That is what was over my bed. Probably 6 to 7 feet tall, and the teeth clicking and clacking against each other as it moves, and just breathes while staring down over me.
Quite the vivid imagination.
There's no wonder that I'm in an artistic field, but yeah. I've always wanted to come back and finish it, but I just don't have the rest of the details.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'll put it up on the screen at this point, and everyone can share your terror.
Yeah. Hopefully he visits you next time instead of me.
Oh wow, what a nice thing to offer to a friend.
Look, I'm offering it to a friend, a viewer, literally anyone else, please.
Wow.
It's okay. Hopefully, you just got this idea of a bone to pick with me and finds it humorous and leaves you alone.
You can't speak while in that mode, so go ahead and try.
I think one of my most mundane sleep paralysis memories was I fell asleep watching a movie with my family on the couch, and I could hear them talking, and I'm like, can one of you just shove me awake, please? Come on. All you got to do is hear my thoughts. This is not that difficult. Wake me up.
That's like when those people become conscious after being in comas, but their body still hasn't they're physically haven't woken up yet. They've just mentally woken up, so they can hear all the conversations around them.
Yep.
Yeah,
or
it's
worse,
not great.
When that happens during surgery.
Don't joke about that. That literally happened to me when I had surgery.
I wasn't joking. It's horrific. It happens to people.
I don't think it actually happened. I think it was a dream that came on because of it. But it was because I was waiting for surgery and I was getting put under. And the nurse was like, don't worry about all of those things you've heard about people waking up during surgery. It practically never happens. I was like, I hadn't heard of that. And she's like, oh, well, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I watched a story about a lady who woke up while they were doing surgery on her. She could not move, she could not speak, but she could feel everything.
I like how this started off
Terrible.
with joking about like spoopy things when we were kids, and now I'm actually feeling unsettled. Thanks, Will.
Then it's done its job. That's the whole point of scary things, is to scare you.
All right, so here's how we fix your sleep paralysis demon. We give him a red scarf, some plastic armor, and make him go yeah. Then everything will be fine.
No.
Well, you don't want your sleep paralysis demon to become Papyrus?
No, I do not want him to become Papyrus. I just do not.
I think
want
that would be worse.
Watch, we've recorded this. Tonight is the night I have sleep paralysis again, and he'll be back.
No.
He's like, you brought me
shit,
back,
bitch.
Will. It's like you have called me back.
Motherfucker.
Oh.
You want it? No, he'll come and he'll be like, you didn't fill in all of the details.
Oh yeah, lovely. I'll get another look, and I can spend another 20 hours in a day sculpting my horror.
If you die, don't worry. I'll turn it into like an episode of the Magnus Institute. It'll be fine.
Yep, that's definitely do it. Oh, college, you were a fucked up time for me. I still remember when I was sitting in my big squishy chair and I just had a mental breakdown, and I sat there horrified because my chair was trying to kill me. The chair I was sitting in and hiding from my chair in.
You on drugs?
No, that was when I was doing like 30-hour days multiple times a week.
Oh, wait, hold on. How does that work?
You stay up for 30 hours, you then go to sleep, you then stay up for 30 hours, you go to sleep, and you stay up for 30 hours.
How long were you sleeping for?
7-8 hours.
Oh.
Sometimes 14. The longest I slept was for 30 hours.
Jeez.
My parents
it's not good for the human body.
Doctor, because they were worried I had just like fell into a coma because they could not wake my ass up.
After 10 hours, like, okay, I'm a little worried, guys. It's been almost a day. It's been a day. Okay, he's still asleep. It's been over a day. Is he dead?
I was breathing, but yeah, they called the doctor, and they actually had a nurse come and check, and like, He seems fine. He should wake up. If he doesn't wake up in the next day, take him to the hospital. And I woke up, and I was
Or did
so
you wake up?
confused.
Now,
Maybe
did you
I
have to
didn't.
take like the world's biggest shit after being asleep for 30 hours?
I had to take the biggest piss. Like, Austin Powers, very relatable in that moment.
But are you perhaps still sleeping?
I could be, in which case I'm dead. But
Oh, they've got you on an IV. It's fine. Don't worry.
my parents explaining to me that it was now Sunday, not Saturday, horrifying. I was like, "What are you talking about?
What do you mean it's not Saturday?
No, you slept for What do you mean I slept? What? What do you mean? Look on my computer. This is the most elaborate prank you've ever pulled on me. We're not pranking you. The fuck? Why am I still tired?
'Cause you
5
slept
more
too much.
minutes.
However, with that horrorness, we are at 1 hour.
We are at 1 hour. Uno.
Bonsai.
It is time for this podcast to come to an end.
But don't worry. If you don't get murdered in
Freedom!
your sleep by a sleep paralysis demon, we'll have another one.
Yeah.
If you do, it's Will's fault. He sent it to you. He literally said he would prefer it went to one of the viewers. So
If you do, just know I thank you for taking the shot. Bye.
bye. You're a bad person.
Oh, yes, I am.